Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of another in the so-called series by Mark Simonitch. This one is France 40, published of course by GMT Games. And it says here, 2 games inside: Sickle Cut, Guderian's Drive to the Channel, and Dynamo, Retreat to Victory. Great cover art on the box lid of a little French tank. Not sure which one it is, but let's have a look at the back of the box and see what this is all about. France 40 contains 2 separate games, as mentioned on the box lid: Sickle Cut and Dynamo. Both games use the same rules and share many game pieces, but each has a separate full-size map. The rules for both games highlight armor, air support, maneuver and morale. Special rules include Allied heavy tanks, de Gaulle, Rommel, Montgomery, that man's halt order, and French command paralysis. And here's a bit more detail on the 2 games included in the box. And if you wish, I'll let you pause the video to have a read. But at the bottom here, it says this is the 2nd edition and includes a new 2-map scenario, 10 new units, an improved order of battle for both games, and many modifications to the rules and charts. And up here we can see the maps and some examples of the counters here. And in the box itself there are 2 paper maps, 2 counter sheets, 1 rulebook, 1 playbook, 2 setup and reinforcement cards, 2 identical combat results table, terrain effects chart, player aid cards, and 2 6-sided dice. 2 players, ages 14 plus, playtime 4 to 6 hours. And on the game scales, complexity is 5 out of 9, and solitaire suitability is also 5 out of 9. And down here the credits: game design of course, as I mentioned earlier, Mark Simonitch; 2nd edition developer Christian Diedler; research and order of battle Tony Curtis and Fred Thomas; the graphic artist was also Mark Simonitch, and the production coordinator Kai Jensen. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off. The shrink wrap is off, and as I mentioned earlier, rather handsome piece of cover art by Antonis Karadis. Right, let's open the box. So in the box, first thing we see are the 2 D6, black and blue, and some Ziploc bags. And then there's the rules. So let's have a look at those. Here are the rules: full color matte paper, and come in at 24 pages. So these will be pretty familiar to those who have some of Mark's other games in this series, for want of a better word. So we've got the introduction, contents of the game, the map, the counters, what's on the counters. It goes through things like stacking points and troop quality and the colours, steps, then the sequence of play. So we've got the German initial phase, then the German movement phase, and combat phase. They can then recover and try and supply. And then for the Allied player turn, similar sort of thing. And then end phase. Goes into more details about stacking, zones of control, the good old Zoc bonds, movement. Good to see diagrams and pictures. Some Allied rail movement in this one. Automatic defender shattered results. And then combat. Got the tank shift, air support, troop quality shifts, how to cope with river and marsh river hecksides, And then the results. You might be able to do a determined defense, or indeed a desperate defense. And if all else fails, retreat, disruption and recovery, effects of full retreat, advance after combat, breakthrough combat. So that's an attack after advance after combat, fortifications, allied HQs, supply and isolation, attrition, the penalties of being out of supply, reinforcements, how that works using rail movement, for example. There's random entry as well. Special rules common to both scenarios. We've got reconnaissance units, Rommel and Montgomery, and how they affect the units, disengagement. And then the two scenarios, sickle cut scenario, and then the dynamo scenario. This is the withdrawal, of course, to Dunkirk and the evacuation. And at the back here, we've got summary of special units. There's the Rommel and Montgomery counters, the abbreviations used in the game, and some more credits. And on the back cover, a little index. Them's the rules. Next, we have a 16-page full-colour matte paper playbook. Showing us an extended example of play for the sickle cut scenario. The first edition notes, and I suppose you can contrast and compare with the second edition notes, which are here. How it was altered and why it was altered. Order of battle notes, and then these situation maps, which are fantastic. So here's the German map, and here's the French map for the 16th. Fantastic. You can see this is Dynamo, May 31st. Look, right up to Calais and Dunkirk. And this France 40 combined game where you can put the two scenarios together. It's a 23-turn game though. And it tells you how to do that from sickle cut to dynamo. So that looks interesting, and some of you will be doing that. How to set that up, and a little bit about the combined game design notes. Credits for the combined game. So it was designed by Mark Simonitch, some of the playtesters there, and additional research by Fred Thomas. And some bibliography at the back. There we are. That's the playbook. Next, we've got the setup cards for the Allies and Germans. Let's have a look at those. Here's the Allied at start and reinforcement card for sickle cut. And on the other side, Allied start card for dynamo. Here's the German at start and reinforcement card for sickle cut. Some of these you'll only be using if you're combining the game with the two scenarios. And on the other side, German at start and reinforcement card for dynamo. Two identical bifold player aids for each player. Let's have a look at one of those. And these will look familiar to those who already have games in this series. So we've got the combat results table and what all these abbreviations mean, the determined defense table, and combat modifiers and how much you can advance after combat. And in the middle, the rally table, isolation attrition table, disengagement table, extended movement, and then the breakthrough combat and evacuation table, obviously for Dynamo only. Here we've got the extended sequence of play, and on the back a terrain effects chart with some notes and telling you that these terrain are only found on the Dynamo map. Next, 2 sheets of counters. Here's the first one. They're on the typical thick core. Here we've got the Germans and the French, with colonial French down in the corner there. And on the other side, those that can be are showing their disrupted sides. Here's the second sheet, more Germans and Waffen-SS there. Some French. I think that's us British. These are the Belgians and Dutch. Could be wrong, as I'm colourblind. And on the other side, the disrupted sides of the units and the other side of the admin counters. The last thing in the box are the 2 maps for Dynamo and Sickle Cut. They're both single-sided. However, I got the mounted maps. So let's have a look at those. Now these mounted maps are double-sided, and here's the Sickle Cut side. Guderian's drive to the channel. And as you can see, standard size for the map. And at the moment, not sure what all these things at the top mean. And down here at the bottom, we've got the turn record track. We'll have a little close-up of those. These might be the sort of entry points. We've got south, southeast, and right over in the other right-hand corner, we've got east. So let's have a quick zoom in and have a closer look. Here we can see Amiens dominating this sort of left side of the map. Lots of open space there, while over on the right we have the Ardennes. These letters are dotted all around the edge of the board, and as I said, I'm not quite sure at the moment what they are. Are they entry points? And down at the bottom left-hand corner, we've got that turn record track. Let's have a look at the other side. Here's the Dynamo Retreat to Victory map. Up the top there, we've got the turn record track. Here we've got France, Belgium, and the Netherlands up the top there. Here's the famous Dunkirk. Over in the left corner, we've got the terrain key evacuation table with somewhere to put those units you have evacuated. Down here, available and used German air and RAF air units. And at the top, a better view of this map's turn record track. And that's it. That's everything in the box. So this has been an Open the Box, an unboxing of the 2nd edition of Mark Simonitch's game. France 40, containing Sickle Cut, Guderian's Drive to the Channel, and Dynamo, Retreat to Victory, and published, of course, by GMT Games. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. If you did, and you haven't done so already, it would be spiffing if you would consider subscribing to the channel. Really helps. Another thing that helps tremendously is pushing the like button, the thumbs up underneath the video. But if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then make sure you push the old bell and click on all notifications. Leave a comment. As I said at the beginning, I've got quite a few in this series, but I haven't yet had the chance to get any on the channel. But what do you think? Let me know how this one plays and if you're enjoying it, because as you know, I love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just before I leave, I'll just quickly mention that if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, you can buy the channel a coffee, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. Or you can push the super thanks button underneath the video. It's not obligatory, of course, but if you decide to do that, it will be thankfully received, because those little donations just help the channel to keep ticking along. So thank you. Right, a little more counter clipping to be getting on with, and that'll fit nicely, I would have thought, into a counter tray. There's enough room in the box. And I hope you can join me for my next video. But until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.